Neil Armstrong, the first human to set foot on the moon, was born on August 5, 1930, in Wapakoneta, Ohio. As the eldest of 3 children in the Armstrong family, Neil displayed an early curiosity for the skies. His father, Stephen Armstrong, worked as an auditor, a job that required the family to move frequently across Ohio. These constant relocations introduced young Neil to a variety of environments, but one constant in his life was his fascination with airplanes and the world beyond Earth. Armstrong's love for aviation began at a young age. He built model airplanes, devoured books about flight, and spent countless hours daydreaming about soaring through the clouds. At the age of 6, Neil experienced his first airplane ride in a Ford Trimitar, often referred to as the Tin Goose. That short flight ignited a passion that would stay with him for the rest of his life. It was during these formative years that he began to see aviation not just as a curiosity, but as a calling. Growing up in the 1930s and 1940s, Armstrong lived through a transformative period in history. The world was grappling with the Great Depression, followed by World War II, both of which shaped the young boy's outlook on life. These events underscored the importance of determination, innovation, and resilience, qualities that Neil would embody throughout his career. He admired pioneers like Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart, who demonstrated that courage and vision could push humanity to new heights. Neil's academic inclinations mirrored his budding interests in aviation. He excelled in mathematics and science, subjects that would later serve as the foundation for his engineering expertise. However, it was not all work and no play. He also participated in Boy Scouts, eventually earning the rank of Eagle Scout. This involvement fostered his discipline, teamwork, and love for exploration, traits that would prove invaluable during his time as an astronaut. Despite his natural talents, Armstrong faced challenges typical of his era. Growing up in a modest household during times of economic uncertainty meant that resources were limited. Yet, Neil's parents instilled in him the values of hard work and perseverance. His mother, Viola Armstrong, played a particularly influential role, encouraging her son to dream big and pursue his passions without hesitation. By the time Armstrong entered high school, his commitment to aviation had grown into a determined ambition. He worked odd jobs to fund his flying lessons, earning his pilot's license at the age of 16, even before he obtained his driver's license. This remarkable achievement not only showcased his dedication, but also cemented his identity as a budding aviator. His solo flights over Ohio's rolling landscapes symbolized his early steps toward conquering the skies. As a teenager, Neil's dreams extended beyond the confines of Earth's atmosphere. The burgeoning field of rocket science captured his imagination. He avidly followed developments in aviation and space exploration, drawing inspiration from the breakthroughs of the time. The idea of humans traveling to the moon, once a concept of science fiction, began to seem plausible, and Armstrong quietly aspired to be part of that journey. Neil's ability to balance ambition with humility set him apart even in his youth. Friends and mentors often remarked on his quiet determination and methodical approach to problem-solving. He did not seek the spotlight, but instead focused on mastering his craft. This unassuming demeanor would later define his leadership style, both as a test pilot and as the commander of Apollo 11. Looking back on his early years, it becomes clear that Armstrong's childhood experiences laid the groundwork for his monumental achievements. His love of flight, nurtured by supportive parents, and his own unrelenting curiosity, steered him toward a life of exploration and discovery. From building model airplanes to piloting real ones, Neil Armstrong's journey began long before he stepped onto the lunar surface. It was rooted in the small-town values of perseverance, ingenuity, and a boundless sense of wonder. Neil Armstrong's path to becoming an astronaut began with a strong foundation in education and early professional experiences that honed his skills in aviation and engineering. From an early age, Armstrong displayed an aptitude for learning and a thirst for knowledge, traits that would guide him through the challenges of his academic and professional journey. Armstrong graduated from Bloom High School in Wapakoneta in 1947, ranking among the top students in his class. His academic performance, particularly in mathematics and science, earned him admission to Purdue University through a U.S. Navy scholarship. At Purdue, he pursued a degree in aeronautical engineering, a field perfectly aligned with his passion for aviation. The university, renowned for its engineering program, provided Armstrong with the technical knowledge and problem-solving skills that would become the bedrock of his career. However, Armstrong's time at Purdue was interrupted by a call to serve in the U.S. Navy. As part of his scholarship agreement, Armstrong became a naval aviator, a role that required rigorous training and intense discipline. In 1950, he earned his pilot's wings and was deployed during the Korean War, where he flew 78 combat missions. These missions were not without peril. On one occasion, Armstrong's aircraft was severely damaged by enemy fire, forcing him to eject. This harrowing experience tested his composure and resourcefulness, qualities that would later define him as an astronaut. After completing his military service, Armstrong returned to Purdue in 1952 to finish his degree. The practical experience he gained during his time in the Navy enriched his understanding of aeronautics, allowing him to approach his studies with newfound perspective. He graduated in 1955 with a Bachelor of Science degree in aeronautical engineering. Armstrong's academic achievements and hands-on experience positioned him as a promising talent in the burgeoning field of aerospace engineering. Upon graduating, Armstrong began his professional career as a test pilot for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, the precursor to NASA. He was stationed at the Lewis Flight Propulsion Laboratory in Cleveland, Ohio, and later transferred to the High-Speed Flight Station in Edwards, California. Test piloting was a dangerous and demanding occupation, but it offered Armstrong the opportunity to push the boundaries of aviation technology. He flew numerous experimental aircraft, including the X-15 rocket plane, which could reach the edge of space. Armstrong's work as a test pilot required a combination of technical expertise, physical endurance, and mental acuity. He was known for his calm demeanor under pressure, an essential trait for navigating high-stakes situations. This role also allowed him to collaborate with engineers and scientists, deepening his understanding of aerodynamics and spacecraft systems. His contributions were instrumental in advancing the field of high-speed flight, earning him respect among his peers. During this time, Armstrong also pursued further education, earning a Master of Science degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Southern California in 1970. His commitment to continuous learning underscored his belief in the importance of technical knowledge and innovation in tackling complex challenges. This mindset would later influence his approach to problem-solving during space missions. Armstrong's early career was marked by a series of accomplishments that set him apart as a leader in the aerospace community. His dedication to his craft was matched by his willingness to take calculated risks, a combination that made him an ideal candidate for the next frontier of exploration: space. His work as a test pilot was not just about flying. It was about pushing the limits of human capability and preparing for the challenges of spaceflight. By the late 1950s, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union was in full swing, and NASA was actively seeking talented individuals to join its astronaut corps. Armstrong's technical expertise, combat experience, and test piloting background made him an ideal candidate. In 1962, he was selected as one of the second group of NASA astronauts, joining a cohort of highly skilled pilots and engineers who would shape the future of space exploration. Reflecting on his education and early career, it is evident that each phase of Armstrong's life contributed to his development as a pioneering aviator and astronaut. His academic achievements provided the theoretical foundation. His military service honed his resilience and adaptability, and his work as a test pilot refined his technical and operational skills. Together, these experiences prepared Neil Armstrong for the extraordinary challenges that lay ahead in his journey to the moon. Neil Armstrong's entry into NASA marked the beginning of his journey into space exploration, a domain that would define his career and secure his legacy. The space race between the United States and the Soviet Union in the 1960s created an urgent need for skilled astronauts capable of taking on unprecedented challenges. Armstrong's unique combination of technical expertise, military service, and test piloting experience made him an ideal candidate for NASA's ambitious objectives. In September 1962, Armstrong was selected as part of NASA's second group of astronauts, often referred to as the Next Nine. This cohort was distinguished not only by their flying experience, but also by their strong engineering and scientific backgrounds. Unlike the first group of Mercury astronauts, who were primarily test pilots, the Next Nine emphasized technical knowledge, reflecting NASA's growing understanding of the complexities involved in space exploration. Armstrong's selection highlighted the agency's commitment to blending operational experience with intellectual rigor. The astronaut training program was intense and multifaceted, designed to prepare candidates for the physical, mental, and technical demands of spaceflight. Armstrong underwent rigorous physical conditioning, simulations, and survival training. One of the most challenging aspects was the centrifuge, which subjected astronauts to the intense G-forces they would experience during launch and re-entry. Armstrong excelled in these tests, demonstrating not only his physical endurance, but also his ability to remain calm under pressure, a vital quality for missions involving high-stakes decision-making. In addition to physical training, Armstrong immersed himself in technical studies. Astronauts were required to become experts in spacecraft systems, orbital mechanics, and emergency procedures. Armstrong's engineering background gave him a distinct advantage in understanding the complex machinery of NASA's spacecraft. His reputation as a meticulous and analytical thinker grew during this time, earning him respect from both his peers and NASA leadership. One of the key components of astronaut training was simulated mission scenarios, designed to replicate the conditions of spaceflight as accurately as possible. Armstrong spent countless hours in the Gemini and Apollo simulators, rehearsing every aspect of a mission, from docking maneuvers to handling emergencies. His ability to learn from simulations and apply those lessons to real-world situations became one of his defining characteristics as an astronaut. Armstrong's humility and quiet demeanor stood out among his peers. While many astronauts relished the attention that came with their high-profile roles, Armstrong preferred to focus on his work. He viewed his position as a responsibility rather than a platform for personal recognition. This attitude made him a trusted team member, someone who could be relied upon to prioritize the mission above all else. His leadership qualities, though understated, began to emerge during this period. NASA's space program in the early 1960s was marked by rapid progress and innovation. The Mercury missions had demonstrated the feasibility of manned spaceflight, but the Gemini program sought to develop the techniques required for the Apollo missions. Armstrong's first opportunity to fly into space came in March 1966, when he was assigned as command pilot for the Gemini 8 mission. This assignment underscored NASA's confidence in his abilities as both a pilot and a problem solver. As the Gemini 8 mission approached, Armstrong worked closely with his crewmate, David Scott, to prepare for the flight. The mission was designed to achieve the first docking of 2 spacecraft in orbit, a critical milestone for the Apollo program's goal of landing humans on the moon. Armstrong's role as command pilot required him to oversee every aspect of the mission, from pre-flight preparations to execution in orbit. His calm and methodical approach to problem-solving became evident as he navigated the complexities of the mission plan. Armstrong's integration into NASA also marked the beginning of his collaboration with a diverse team of engineers, scientists, and mission controllers. He was deeply involved in the design and testing of spacecraft, offering insights based on his experiences as a test pilot. This hands-on approach ensured that astronauts' perspectives were considered in the development of new technologies. Armstrong's contributions extended beyond his role as a flyer, highlighting his commitment to the broader objectives of the space program. By the time Gemini 8 launched, Armstrong had become a vital part of NASA's efforts to push the boundaries of human exploration. His dedication to preparation, his technical expertise, and his ability to remain composed in high-pressure situations set him apart as one of the agency's most capable astronauts. The foundation laid during this period would not only prepare him for the challenges of his first spaceflight, but also set the stage for his historic role in the Apollo program. Neil Armstrong's first spaceflight as command pilot of Gemini 8 in March 1966 marked a pivotal moment in his career and in the history of space exploration. This mission, though fraught with challenges, demonstrated Armstrong's remarkable composure and problem-solving abilities, cementing his reputation as a reliable and resourceful astronaut. The Gemini program was designed to test and refine the techniques required for the upcoming Apollo missions, including spacecraft docking, extended spaceflight, and precision maneuvers in orbit. Gemini 8's primary objective was to achieve the first docking of 2 spacecraft in orbit, a critical capability for the eventual lunar missions. Armstrong was paired with pilot David Scott, a fellow member of NASA's Next 9 astronaut group. Together, they trained extensively for months, rehearsing docking procedures, contingency plans, and emergency protocols in simulators. On March 16, 1966, Gemini 8 launched from Cape Kennedy aboard a Titan II rocket. Armstrong and Scott successfully reached orbit, where they prepared to dock with an uncrewed Agena target vehicle that had been launched earlier. This maneuver required precise piloting and coordination, as the 2 spacecraft were traveling at thousands of miles per hour relative to the Earth. Armstrong's skill and meticulous planning were evident as he guided the Gemini spacecraft toward the Agena, achieving a flawless docking, the first in spaceflight history. However, the triumph was short-lived. Soon after docking, the combined spacecraft began to spin uncontrollably. Initially, the astronauts believed the problem lay with the Agena, but it quickly became apparent that a stuck thruster on the Gemini spacecraft was causing the issue. The situation was dire. The rapidly increasing spin subjected Armstrong and Scott to extreme G-forces, risking their health and the structural integrity of the spacecraft. Armstrong's response to the crisis showcased his ability to remain calm and decisive under pressure. Drawing on his extensive training and experience as a test pilot, he quickly identified the source of the problem and initiated emergency procedures. He undocked the Gemini from the Agena, but the spin persisted. Demonstrating exceptional focus, Armstrong used the spacecraft's reentry control system to stabilize the vehicle. This decision, while necessary, limited their ability to continue the mission, forcing an early return to Earth. The incident underscored the inherent risks of space exploration and the importance of astronaut training. Armstrong and Scott's actions prevented a potentially catastrophic outcome, and their handling of the crisis was widely praised by NASA leadership and the aerospace community. The mission, despite its abrupt conclusion, provided valuable lessons about spacecraft systems and emergency protocols, contributing to the success of future missions. Gemini 8's early termination meant that Armstrong and Scott missed several planned experiments and objectives. Nevertheless, the mission's partial success, achieving the first-ever docking in space, was a significant milestone for NASA. It validated the feasibility of critical maneuvers required for the Apollo program and demonstrated the importance of having astronauts who could think clearly and act decisively in unexpected situations. The public and media response to Gemini 8 was mixed. While the docking achievement was celebrated, the emergency and early return highlighted the dangers of space exploration. For Armstrong, the mission reinforced the need for thorough preparation and adaptability. He reflected on the experience with characteristic humility, focusing on what could be learned rather than dwelling on the challenges. Gemini 8 also marked the beginning of Armstrong's emergence as a leader within NASA. His handling of the crisis earned him the respect of his peers and supervisors, solidifying his status as a top candidate for future high-stakes missions. His performance demonstrated not only technical competence, but also the psychological resilience required for space exploration. The lessons from Gemini 8 had far-reaching implications for the Apollo program. NASA engineers implemented design changes to prevent similar malfunctions, while mission planners refined emergency protocols to better equip astronauts for unforeseen events. Armstrong's ability to manage a life-threatening situation became a model for astronaut training, emphasizing the importance of composure and critical thinking in space. In retrospect, Gemini 8 was a defining moment in Neil Armstrong's career. It tested his skills, character, and resolve, proving that he was more than capable of handling the immense responsibilities of space exploration. Though the mission was not without its challenges, it prepared Armstrong for the greater trials and triumphs that lay ahead, including his historic role as the first human to walk on the moon. The journey to Apollo 11 was a monumental effort that required years of preparation, innovation, and collaboration. For Neil Armstrong, this path was marked by meticulous training, vital contributions to NASA's Apollo program, and a growing recognition of his leadership abilities. The Apollo program, initiated by President John F. Kennedy's 1961 pledge to land a man on the moon, was the most ambitious space exploration effort in history. Armstrong's experiences with Gemini 8 and his reputation as a calm, methodical problem solver positioned him as a key figure in this endeavor. After the Gemini program, NASA turned its full attention to Apollo, which sought to accomplish the lunar landing and return mission. Apollo's scope extended beyond engineering challenges. It also encompassed scientific exploration and international prestige during the Cold War. Armstrong's role in this transformative period involved both technical expertise and operational readiness, qualities he refined through rigorous training and involvement in mission planning. The tragic Apollo 1 fire in January 1967, which claimed the lives of astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, profoundly impacted the Apollo program. The accident highlighted critical flaws in spacecraft design and safety protocols, leading to an extensive review and redesign of the Apollo command module. Armstrong, like many astronauts, was deeply affected by the loss of his colleagues, but remained focused on advancing NASA's goals. The incident underscored the inherent risks of space exploration and reinforced Armstrong's commitment to preparation and precision. Armstrong's first direct involvement in the Apollo program came as backup commander for Apollo 8, the first manned mission to orbit the moon. This role allowed him to familiarize himself with the Saturn V rocket, Apollo spacecraft, and mission objectives. Apollo 8's success in December 1968, which saw astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders become the first humans to orbit the moon, was a critical step in demonstrating the feasibility of a lunar landing. Armstrong and the backup crew contributed to the mission's success by participating in simulations and refining operational procedures. In early 1969, Armstrong was selected as commander of Apollo 11, the mission tasked with fulfilling Kennedy's vision of landing a man on the moon. His selection was based on his experience, demeanor, and ability to handle high-pressure situations. Armstrong would lead a crew consisting of lunar module pilot Buzz Aldrin and command module pilot Michael Collins. This trio underwent extensive training to ensure their readiness for the historic mission, practicing everything from spacecraft systems operations to lunar surface activities. The training regimen for Apollo 11 was exhaustive. Armstrong and his crew conducted countless hours of simulations to prepare for every conceivable scenario. They trained for the descent to the lunar surface using the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle, LLRV, a notoriously difficult-to-control machine designed to mimic the lunar module's handling. Armstrong's mastery of the LLRV, despite its perilous nature, demonstrated his exceptional piloting skills. This preparation was critical, as the success of the mission hinged on the astronauts' ability to adapt to unforeseen challenges. In addition to technical training, Armstrong and his crew studied the moon's geography and geology. NASA wanted the astronauts to conduct meaningful scientific work on the lunar surface, including collecting rock samples and deploying experiments. Armstrong's academic background and methodical approach made him well-suited for these tasks. He worked closely with scientists to understand the objectives and ensure that the mission would yield valuable data. As the Apollo 11 launch date approached, public interest and anticipation reached unprecedented levels. The mission symbolized humanity's aspirations to transcend earthly boundaries and explore the cosmos. For Armstrong, however, the focus remained on the technical and operational aspects. He was acutely aware of the responsibility he bore, not just to NASA, but to the millions of people around the world who viewed Apollo 11 as a defining moment in human history. The Apollo 11 mission represented the culmination of years of collective effort. Engineers, scientists, and astronauts had worked tirelessly to overcome countless obstacles, from developing the Saturn V rocket to perfecting the lunar module's design. Armstrong's leadership and dedication were integral to the mission's readiness. His ability to inspire confidence in his team, and remained composed under pressure made him the ideal commander for this historic undertaking. The road to Apollo 11 was not just a story of technical achievements, but also a testament to human determination and resilience. Armstrong's role in this journey exemplified the qualities that defined the Apollo program: courage, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to exploration. As the launch date of July 16, 1969, drew near, Armstrong and his crew stood ready to embark on a mission that would forever change humanity's relationship with the cosmos. The launch of Apollo 11 on July 16, 1969, marked the culmination of years of meticulous planning, rigorous training, and technological innovation. For Neil Armstrong, this was not only a professional milestone, but also a historic moment that placed him at the forefront of humanity's greatest exploration endeavor. The journey to the moon symbolized a collective aspiration to push the boundaries of human capability, and it began with an awe-inspiring launch witnessed by millions around the globe. The spacecraft, consisting of the Saturn V rocket, the Command Module Columbia, and the Lunar Module Eagle, represented the pinnacle of NASA's engineering prowess. The Saturn V, the most powerful rocket ever built, stood as a testament to human ingenuity, designed to carry the astronauts safely to the moon and back. Armstrong, along with his crewmates Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, strapped into Columbia at Kennedy Space Center, awaiting the moment that would propel them into history. The launch was executed flawlessly at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, as the Saturn V roared to life. Generating over 7.5 million pounds of thrust, the astronauts felt the immense force of liftoff. Armstrong's calm demeanor and precise communication with Mission Control in Houston reflected his experience and composure. The rocket's ascent through the atmosphere was a testament to the meticulous design and testing that had gone into every component of the Apollo program. After achieving Earth orbit, the crew conducted a series of critical maneuvers to prepare for their journey to the moon. The translunar injection burn, executed by the Saturn V's third stage, propelled Apollo 11 out of Earth's orbit and onto a trajectory toward the moon. This phase of the mission required precise calculations and flawless execution, as any deviation could jeopardize the mission. Armstrong's role as commander was pivotal in ensuring the spacecraft's systems operated as intended. The journey to the moon took approximately 3 days, during which the astronauts conducted routine checks of the spacecraft, navigational corrections, and system diagnostics. Armstrong's leadership ensured that the crew remained focused and disciplined during this critical phase. Despite the high stakes, the atmosphere inside Columbia was marked by professionalism and camaraderie. The astronauts also shared their experiences with Earth, broadcasting images and commentary that captivated audiences worldwide. As Apollo 11 approached the moon, the crew prepared for lunar orbit insertion, a maneuver requiring precise timing and execution. The spacecraft's engine fired at the exact moment calculated by Mission Control, slowing Apollo 11 enough to be captured by the moon's gravity. The successful insertion into lunar orbit on July 19, 1969, was a significant milestone, bringing Armstrong and his crew one step closer to their goal. The next phase of the mission involved preparing the Lunar Module Eagle for its descent to the surface. Armstrong and Aldrin transferred from the command module to the lunar module, meticulously checking its systems and controls. Michael Collins, meanwhile, remained aboard Columbia, tasked with maintaining the command module systems and ensuring a safe rendezvous after the lunar surface activities. Throughout this process, Armstrong's leadership was evident in his methodical approach and clear communication with both his crewmates and Mission Control. His calm demeanor served as a stabilizing force, particularly as the mission entered its most critical stages. The transition from orbit to landing required a level of precision and coordination that had never been attempted before, making every step of the process a high-stakes endeavor. Public anticipation reached a fever pitch as the world awaited the outcome of the lunar landing. For Armstrong, the focus remained on the technical challenges and the responsibility of ensuring mission success. He understood that the stakes were not only personal, but also symbolic, representing humanity's collective ambition to explore beyond Earth's boundaries. The journey to the moon was a demonstration of the intricate choreography required for space exploration. Each phase, from launch to lunar orbit, depended on the flawless integration of technology, human expertise, and teamwork. Armstrong's role as commander required him to balance the operational demands of the mission with the historical significance of the endeavor. His ability to lead under such extraordinary circumstances exemplified the qualities that had earned him this unique opportunity. As Apollo 11 orbited the moon, Armstrong and his crew prepared for the moment that would define their mission and their place in history. The journey thus far had tested their skills, resilience, and determination, but it was only the beginning. The next step, the descent to the lunar surface, would challenge them in ways no human had ever experienced before, as they ventured into the unknown to fulfill one of humanity's greatest aspirations. The lunar landing on July 20th, 1969, was an unprecedented achievement that marked humanity's first steps onto another celestial body. This chapter of Apollo 11 was a testament to the synergy of human ingenuity, meticulous preparation, and Neil Armstrong's exceptional leadership. The descent to the moon's surface represented the culmination of years of effort by NASA and its collaborators, and its success hinged on precision, adaptability, and courage. As Apollo 11 orbited the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin made final preparations to descend in the lunar module Eagle. The spacecraft, a marvel of engineering, was designed to navigate the challenges of a low-gravity environment and land safely on the moon's surface. Armstrong, as the mission commander, bore ultimate responsibility for ensuring that the descent and landing were executed flawlessly. The complexity of this phase demanded acute focus and precision. The descent began with a burn of the lunar module's descent engine, slowing the spacecraft and beginning its controlled approach to the surface. Armstrong and Aldrin monitored their instruments closely, communicating with Mission Control in Houston and adjusting their trajectory as necessary. The descent was carefully planned, but the challenges of landing on an uncharted terrain required constant vigilance. Armstrong's extensive training with the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle had prepared him for these high-stakes maneuvers. As Eagle approached its intended landing site in the Sea of Tranquility, Armstrong noticed that the spacecraft's trajectory would bring it down into a rocky area filled with boulders and craters. Recognizing the potential danger, he took manual control of the lunar module to search for a safer location. This decision showcased Armstrong's remarkable ability to assess a situation quickly and act decisively, even under the immense pressure of piloting the first human-crewed spacecraft to the moon. With fuel running low, Armstrong skillfully guided Eagle to a smooth patch of lunar surface. The landing was tense, with only seconds of fuel remaining, but Armstrong's composure and precision ensured success. At 4:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, he announced to Mission Control, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." The relief and jubilation in Houston and around the world were palpable. Humanity had achieved what once seemed impossible. The significance of the moment was not lost on Armstrong and Aldrin as they prepared to step onto the lunar surface. They conducted final system checks and donned their spacesuits, ensuring that everything was in order for their extravehicular activity, EVA. Armstrong, as the mission commander, would have the honor of being the first human to walk on the moon, a responsibility he carried with characteristic humility. At 10:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Neil Armstrong descended the ladder of the lunar module and set foot on the moon. His first words, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind," encapsulated the magnitude of the achievement. The moment was broadcast live to an estimated 600 million people worldwide, uniting humanity in awe and wonder. Armstrong's words and actions symbolized the culmination of centuries of exploration and the boundless potential of human endeavor. Buzz Aldrin soon joined Armstrong on the surface, and the two astronauts began their planned activities. They deployed scientific instruments, including a seismometer and a laser reflector, to gather data about the moon's environment and structure. They also collected rock and soil samples, which would provide invaluable insights into the moon's composition and history. Throughout the EVA, Armstrong's methodical approach ensured that the mission objectives were completed efficiently and safely. The moon's desolation struck both astronauts as they worked. The lack of atmosphere, the stark shadows, and the infinite expanse of the lunar horizon created an otherworldly environment. Despite the isolation, the astronauts were acutely aware of their connection to Earth. The American flag they planted symbolized the triumph of human collaboration and the spirit of exploration, while a plaque on the lunar module bore the inscription, "We came in peace for all mankind." After spending about 2.5 hours on the lunar surface, Armstrong and Aldrin returned to Eagle. They secured their samples, prepared the spacecraft for liftoff, and rested before the next critical phase of their mission, rendezvousing with Michael Collins in the Command Module Columbia. The lunar landing was a moment of triumph, but the mission was far from over, and Armstrong's leadership would continue to guide his crew safely home. The successful landing of Apollo 11 was not only a scientific milestone, but also a deeply symbolic achievement. It represented humanity's ability to overcome immense challenges through innovation, determination, and cooperation. For Neil Armstrong, the experience was both humbling and transformative, reaffirming his belief in the potential of human exploration. The lunar landing solidified his place in history, but it was also a stepping stone for future endeavors, inspiring generations to reach for the stars. The return journey of Apollo 11 marked the triumphant conclusion of humanity's first successful mission to the moon. While the descent and landing were the mission's most iconic moments, the safe return of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins was equally critical. This phase was not merely a technical accomplishment. It symbolized the unity of purpose and scientific achievement that characterized the Apollo program, leaving an indelible mark on global consciousness. Following their historic activities on the lunar surface, Armstrong and Aldrin re-entered the lunar module Eagle and prepared for liftoff. The lunar ascent stage ignited flawlessly, propelling the two astronauts back into lunar orbit to rendezvous with Michael Collins in the Command Module Columbia. Collins, who had remained in lunar orbit during the surface operations, was a critical link in the mission's success. His role required precise navigation and constant vigilance, ensuring Columbia was ready to retrieve Eagle for the journey home. The docking maneuver, though routine by Apollo standards, was a tense and complex operation. Armstrong and Aldrin's return to the command module marked a significant milestone. All three astronauts were now reunited, and the mission's focus shifted to the safe return to Earth. This phase emphasized the teamwork and coordination that had been central to Apollo 11's success. Armstrong's leadership ensured that the crew remained disciplined and focused on their tasks, even as the world celebrated their achievements. The trans-Earth injection burn, which placed Apollo 11 on a trajectory back to Earth, was executed with precision. The journey home provided the astronauts a chance to reflect on their experiences. For Armstrong, the mission's significance extended beyond personal achievement. He saw it as a collective effort that represented humanity's potential for collaboration and exploration. His reflections during this time were marked by humility and a deep appreciation for the enormity of what had been accomplished. As Apollo 11 neared Earth, preparations for re-entry began. The spacecraft's heat shield, designed to withstand temperatures exceeding 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, would protect the astronauts during their high-speed descent through the atmosphere. This phase required meticulous planning, as any miscalculation could result in a catastrophic failure. Armstrong's calm demeanor and attention to detail reassured his crew and mission control that they were in capable hands. On July 24, 1969, Apollo 11 splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean, approximately 950 miles southwest of Hawaii. Recovery operations, led by the USS Hornet, were executed smoothly. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins were retrieved from the spacecraft and placed in quarantine to ensure they had not been exposed to any potential lunar pathogens. This precautionary measure, though later deemed unnecessary, reflected the cautious approach that defined the Apollo program. The astronauts' return to Earth was greeted with widespread jubilation. Armstrong, in particular, became a global symbol of human achievement and exploration. Parades, speeches, and celebrations were held in their honor, and Armstrong's image was immortalized in media and public consciousness. Despite the adulation, he remained characteristically humble, emphasizing the collective nature of the Apollo program and the contributions of countless individuals who had made the mission possible. The impact of Apollo 11 extended far beyond its immediate scientific and technical achievements. The mission was a powerful symbol of what humanity could accomplish through determination, innovation, and collaboration. For many, it represented a unifying moment during a period of geopolitical tension and societal upheaval. Armstrong's iconic words, "One giant leap for mankind," encapsulated the mission's broader significance, resonating with people across cultural and national boundaries. Apollo 11 also left a lasting legacy for science and exploration. The rock and soil samples collected during the mission provided valuable insights into the moon's history and composition, advancing our understanding of planetary formation. The mission demonstrated the feasibility of human exploration beyond Earth, paving the way for subsequent lunar missions and inspiring future endeavors in space exploration. For Armstrong, the return to Earth marked the beginning of a new chapter. While he would never again travel to space, his role as a pioneer and ambassador for exploration continued to shape his life and career. His leadership during Apollo 11 set a standard for future missions, embodying the values of courage, humility, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge. The successful conclusion of Apollo 11 was not just the end of a mission, but the opening of a new era in humanity's journey to the stars. The success of Apollo 11 catapulted Neil Armstrong into global prominence, a position he neither sought nor embraced. For most, landing on the moon and returning safely to Earth would be the defining achievement of a lifetime. Yet Armstrong's life after Apollo 11 was marked by a desire to return to a life of relative anonymity and purpose. His post-mission years reflect a man who valued quiet reflection over public adulation and who sought to contribute to the advancement of space exploration in less visible, but equally important ways. Upon his return to Earth, Armstrong and his fellow Apollo 11 astronauts were honored with a world tour. They visited multiple countries, met with heads of state, and received countless accolades from government officials, space agencies, and the public. Despite the fanfare, Armstrong remained remarkably grounded, always deflecting attention from himself and redirecting it toward the achievements of the Apollo program as a whole. His humility was evident in interviews, where he would often downplay his role in the historic mission, emphasizing that the success of Apollo 11 was due to the efforts of an entire team. Armstrong's first major professional decision after Apollo 11 was to leave NASA in 1971. He accepted a position as a professor of aerospace engineering at the University of Cincinnati, where he taught for several years. Armstrong's transition from astronaut to educator reflects his belief in the importance of passing on knowledge and inspiring the next generation of engineers and explorers. In the classroom, he emphasized the practical and theoretical aspects of aerospace engineering, while also imparting the values of perseverance, discipline, and curiosity that had defined his own career. Armstrong's time at the University of Cincinnati was not just about teaching. It was also an opportunity for personal growth and reflection. In contrast to the pressures of space exploration, academic life allowed Armstrong to engage with students and colleagues in a more intimate and intellectually stimulating environment. While teaching, Armstrong continued to support space-related causes, serving on various boards and panels and offering his insights on the future of space exploration. His focus remained on advancing the field and ensuring that the momentum of the Apollo program would continue. Even though the U.S. government had largely shifted its attention to other priorities by the 1970s. Despite his desire for privacy, Armstrong occasionally found himself thrust back into the public spotlight. He participated in numerous panels, including serving as a commissioner on the National Commission on Space in the 1980s, which advocated for the expansion of the United States space program. Armstrong also served as a member of the President's Advisory Committee on the future of the U.S. space program, where he continued to champion the exploration of space, urging that NASA's focus should remain on the long-term goal of human spaceflight and lunar exploration. Armstrong's views on space exploration evolved as he observed the developments in the field. While he maintained his support for space exploration, he was a critic of the focus on short-term missions and felt that a more sustained effort toward a permanent human presence on the moon and beyond was necessary. Armstrong's advocacy for the human exploration of Mars and other celestial bodies demonstrated his commitment to the vision he had helped realize in 1969, but he also recognized that the challenges of such missions required significant time, funding, and international collaboration. In addition to his work as an educator and space advocate, Armstrong remained involved with various private sector organizations, particularly in the aerospace and technology industries. He served on the boards of numerous companies, including Aerospace Corporation, Computer Vision Corporation, and Phillips Petroleum, using his technical expertise to advise on complex projects related to aerospace and engineering. Armstrong's involvement in the corporate world provided him with opportunities to influence cutting-edge technologies and ensure that the lessons learned during Apollo 11 would benefit future generations. Throughout his post-Apollo years, Armstrong was steadfast in his commitment to advancing knowledge and exploration, even if that meant doing so outside the public eye. His quiet influence was felt in the numerous projects he supported, as well as in his advocacy for the continued exploration of space. Armstrong also maintained a strong commitment to community and family, living a relatively private life with his wife, Carol, and their 2 children. In a world that was often fascinated by his past, Armstrong remained a figure who valued personal integrity and quiet service over the adulation of others. Armstrong's decision to withdraw from public life further solidified his legacy as a figure who approached his achievements with dignity and a sense of responsibility. Despite being the first man to walk on the moon, Armstrong never allowed that singular event to define him. His focus remained on the future of space exploration and the possibilities that lay ahead. In doing so, he left an indelible mark on the trajectory of human exploration, not just as a pioneer, but as a thoughtful, forward-thinking advocate for continued discovery. Neil Armstrong's post-Apollo life exemplified the qualities of humility, vision, and dedication that characterized his time as an astronaut. He understood that his legacy was not just about his historic achievement on the moon, but about the ways in which he contributed to the ongoing exploration of space. By returning to academia, engaging in policy discussions, and supporting innovation in the private sector, Armstrong ensured that his impact would continue to be felt long after his days as an astronaut had ended. His contributions to space exploration, though quieter in the years that followed Apollo 11, were no less significant, cementing his place as a guiding figure for future generations. The legacy of Neil Armstrong extends far beyond his historic steps on the lunar surface. His life exemplified the pursuit of excellence, the power of collaboration, and the humility that defined his character. While his name will forever be associated with Apollo 11, Armstrong's contributions to science, exploration, and humanity's collective imagination have left an enduring impact that transcends the boundaries of time and geography. Armstrong's achievements as the first human to walk on the moon represent one of the most iconic moments in modern history. His words, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind," encapsulate the essence of human progress and the spirit of exploration. This moment not only marked a technological triumph, but also served as a profound statement about humanity's ability to overcome challenges and expand its horizons. Armstrong became a symbol of what is possible when ambition, innovation, and determination converge. Beyond his lunar landing, Armstrong's approach to life and work has served as a model of humility and grace. Despite the global adulation he received, Armstrong consistently deflected attention from himself to the team of thousands who made the Apollo program possible. His insistence on emphasizing the collective effort behind his achievements speaks to his character and his understanding of the interdependence required for great accomplishments. This humility resonates as a powerful lesson in leadership and teamwork. Armstrong's influence on space exploration did not end with Apollo 11. His advocacy for sustained investment in space programs highlighted his belief in the importance of exploration for the advancement of knowledge and the betterment of humanity. Whether serving on advisory boards or speaking at conferences, Armstrong consistently championed the value of long-term goals in space exploration. His vision for humanity's future in space, which included lunar bases and Mars missions, continues to inspire scientists and policymakers today. One of the most remarkable aspects of Armstrong's legacy is its universal appeal. Unlike many achievements that are celebrated within specific national or cultural contexts, the moon landing resonated with people around the world. Armstrong's historic step was seen not as an American achievement, but as a human achievement, uniting people across borders and ideologies. His legacy serves as a reminder that exploration and discovery can transcend divisions and inspire a shared sense of purpose. In addition to inspiring the global community, Armstrong's life has had a profound impact on individuals. He became a role model for aspiring scientists, engineers, and explorers. Countless people, young and old, have been motivated by his journey from a small-town boy in Ohio to a pioneer of space exploration. His story demonstrates that greatness is often achieved through a combination of curiosity, hard work, and resilience. Armstrong's life shows that even the loftiest dreams can be realized through dedication and perseverance. Armstrong's influence also extended to broader cultural and educational domains. His story has been immortalized in books, documentaries, and films, ensuring that future generations continue to learn about his accomplishments and the broader context of the space race. His name graces schools, museums, and institutions dedicated to science and exploration, serving as a permanent reminder of his contributions. The preservation of his legacy through these means ensures that his story will remain relevant for centuries to come. Even in his later years, Armstrong continued to inspire awe and admiration. He often spoke about the importance of curiosity and the need to embrace challenges. While he preferred a life away from the spotlight, his occasional public appearances reinforced the values he stood for: integrity, perseverance, and a commitment to advancing knowledge. Armstrong's reflections on his journey to the moon and his experiences as an astronaut provided valuable insights into the human capacity for exploration and innovation. Neil Armstrong passed away on August 25, 2012, but his legacy endures in countless ways. His contributions to space exploration are immortalized in the annals of history, but his greater impact lies in the inspiration he provides to those who dare to dream. His life serves as a testament to the potential of humanity to achieve the extraordinary, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. Armstrong's story is not just about one man's achievements, but about the boundless possibilities that lie ahead for all of humanity. In the final analysis, Neil Armstrong's legacy is one of vision, courage, and humility. He will forever be remembered as the first person to walk on the moon, but his true impact lies in the way he inspired generations to look beyond Earth and toward the stars. His life exemplifies the best of human potential, and his journey reminds us that exploration is not just about reaching new places, but about discovering the best within ourselves. Through his remarkable achievements and unwavering character, Neil Armstrong remains a beacon of inspiration for all who dare to dream.